You're on.
All right. Good morning, folks. It's Monday, August 22nd, and I appreciate everybody's questions coming in. I do want to jump right in and answer some of the questions that are easy ones to answer. So the first one has to do with school pictures at the high school. There is a message out there that school pictures at the high school will be September 6th. I know on the calendar right now it says September 16th, and they will fix that this morning. I actually spoke with the yearbook coordinator at the high school. So to be specific and clear, school pictures for the high school for grades 9 through 11 will be on the 6th of September. That's when they are scheduled, Tuesday the 6th. All right, next question had to do with bus behavior and how we can manage and help manage bus behavior. I'll tell you guys the same thing that I've told students for years. Right now on our buses, we have James Bond technology. I mean, there are cameras and microphones in, I think, 4 different locations on the buses. So, of course, that is a kind of reactive approach to how we manage behavior on the bus. But I can promise you that whether it comes to video or audio, we are pretty well in tune with how we can manage behavior or referrals or things of that nature on the bus. So students, please don't do anything crazy on the bus because it is recorded. We also are in the process through the county of upgrading our radio system on the buses, which I think will be a very good thing as far as improving our ability to communicate with all bus drivers throughout every portion of the county, even parts of the county that have traditionally had poor cell service and things of that nature. So we'll be able to have real-time communication with our bus drivers and be able to address things in real time. So I think those are good things moving forward. Bus drivers have a very challenging job to be able to drive a bus down the road and have distractions and concerns about kids behind you is hard. I mean, we've all driven our own kids around and we know how challenging that can be with just a couple children sitting behind you in the car. So having 40, 50, 60, 70 students, it's certainly a challenge, and we appreciate and understand that challenge. There was a question about bus substitutes and how come we've had so many. Well, we've had a lot of substitutes across the division. COVID is still very real and alive, and there's illnesses that occur throughout the school year, and we're still trying to work with and manage those illnesses as best we can. Which reminds me that if you're interested in being a substitute, or if you're interested in being a substitute bus driver and you're able to do so, we would be more than happy to have you join our force, because it would be greatly appreciated and would certainly help us get the job done day to day. There was a question about our school day being 30 minutes longer than Stafford. I went online and took a look at some of our Stafford County neighboring schools. Their school day does start at 7 a.m. and ends at 2:30, which is pretty similar to ours. Now, what they do within those instructional hours is a little bit different, and quite frankly, I kind of like the way we do it. We're trying to get as much instruction as we can out of the hours that we have the school buildings open. We are also opened around the 7 o'clock hour, 7 a.m. hour, and run till 2:30, very similar to the other schools. Just how we use that time is a little different within the school day. Still have a question about safety measures and as far as access to the building. So if you guys remember, I told you early on, we are in the process right now. And when I say in the process, we're kind of waiting for things stuck in the supply chain as far as equipment. But I can tell you that our plan, as far as we can get the stuff in, is to have audio and video access in all of our main entrances. So what that means is that, and you'll see it at King George Elementary right now, and our secondary schools, I believe, if somebody comes to the door, we do not have to open the door and let them in unless we know what their intent is and that we can see their ID. We're still waiting for some parts so that we can get Sealston up to speed and also Potomac up to speed. But the end result is that we'll have audio and visual access at all of our main entrances at our school. So that's, again, just days away from being completed. We're kind of waiting for supplies just like most other people are as far as things being stuck in the supply chain right now. You hear those stories all the time. Next thing, we really have, in my opinion, kind of a teachable moment. As I've told you guys before, I cannot talk about the specifics of any situation But we had some situations last week that I think are opportunities to kind of bring our community together and talk a little bit more about how we do things. There was a situation that kind of popped up on Facebook last week. And again, keeping the specifics out of it, it referenced a threat. And so what I wanted to do is talk to you guys a little bit about how we manage those things, because there's been a couple epiphanies that I've had last week. And the first of which is that the first concern is that there's many in the community wondering if the high school knows about the threat. So that's the first aha moment. Does the high school know? Here's my answer to that. If you feel the high school may not know, please reach out to the high school or the school or whichever school it may be, or to the central office. Do not reach out to Facebook and ask if the high school knows or if the school knows. Come to us. This is similar to the message I had for you guys last week. Please just bring that message to us. It's the most quick and efficient way for us to handle it. So question one, epiphany number one last week, does the school know that this threat exists? Come to us. Okay. The next thing that I appreciated in the process is when I went to school, and when many of us all went to school that are out of school now, we did not go through the threat assessment process like schools really across the Commonwealth go through now. And if you don't know, I would encourage you to Google threat assessments. I can tell you that Virginia, across the country, is at the forefront of developing a very thorough threat assessment process that I think is pretty efficient and has been successful. There is no 100% method. As we all know, I think we should all understand there's no 100% method for any of this. But the threat assessment process that we've used is one that pulls together a multidisciplinary team whenever we have a threat. And what I mean by that is we pull together our school resource officer. We make sure the sheriff's department is aware. We pull together our social worker and our counseling office, our school administration, and any other staff members that are involved, teachers or whoever it may be. We all sit down and go through this very thorough document of how we evaluate the threat. And we determine if the threat is considered to be transient or substantive. And then we take different approaches depending on what we believe that threat to be. All of that stuff is happening behind the scenes. It's all happening very quickly. And I know that the average person at home doesn't know all of those things are going on. I feel more comfortable at night and I sleep better knowing that this process is very thorough and it goes through a lot of steps. And based on what we come out of that meeting with, as far as how we're going to process that threat, there's all kinds of steps that take place that involve the sheriff's department, they involve possibly social services or school social workers or counselors. All of those things are happening almost simultaneously and rather quickly. The final thing that I saw really in Facebook world is questions about, well, what happened to the individuals involved? You guys have to understand and you have to know that that's not something that you will know. There are privacy issues. And if it were my child involved in this type of situation, I would certainly appreciate a level of privacy from the school division. So I know there's this level of comfort or I guess appreciation if you know what happened in the situation. Unfortunately, you won't. You just need to be able to trust and rest assured that that process I described, knowing that we know the threat, knowing that we were getting together and working through this in real time, very quickly with a lot of people that have expertise in this field, and then coming out of it with what we believe collectively to be the appropriate response. Please rest assured and trust that those things are happening. Facebook is not going to be where you find your answers again, guys. If you have concerns, questions, or comments, please bring them to us. We want to be one with the community. We want to make sure that we hear your concerns and that we are addressing them. So please bring them to us, and we'd be happy to jump on them as quickly as we possibly can. Please keep the questions coming, guys. I have appreciated them. It really helps us focus our efforts into addressing your needs. So thank you guys again, and look forward to seeing which questions are on your mind for next week. Thank you.